Alright, thank you for staying with Daybreak. The conversation starts right now. Youth and governance. Let me introduce my guest one more time. Samuel Okela, concerned citizen. Thank you for making time. We also have Jackson Kuria, former police officer. Thank you very much for making time. Kelvin Ayodi is here, governance commentator. Asante sana for making time. Peter Malale, climate change lead at SMARCS Foundation. Asante for making time. And Eugene Oponyo, founder Wazalendo Movement. Thank you very much for making time. I'll start with you in the lower deck, Samuel. How would you describe the state of the nation in your own way?
Okay, thank you, Trevor. First of all, it feels nice to be here. Citizen is home. So on the state of the nation, I believe I would like to mention something about the protest by the Gen Z. So when it started very well, took off very well. But now we are moving into a stage where it is slowly losing momentum. It's not as intense as it used to be. Of course, we would like to be peaceful, as a peaceful nation, but we would also like to be allowed to exercise our democratic rights, because there are certain fundamental rights that no one should take away from us. If we peaceably protest, then we should be protected by the police. Those who protest, maybe some of us are not always on the street, but it's the right of everybody to peaceably and peacefully protest. So that's where we'll start. So maybe just to request the security agencies, even though the steam is a little bit lower for the protest, but we'd like the police to do their role, because their role is not to shoot at people or to fire tear gas at people, but to protect lives and property when people are protesting. Then two, I would like to, on the same depth, I would like to send condolences to those who have lost lives and commiserations to those who have also lost properties in one or the other. So also to urge the Gen Zs and millennials and other patriotic Kenyans, because that's what I call them, to be very considerate when they are on the streets, not to destroy properties, not to take properties or to steal in the protests. And lastly, on Kawira Mwangaza, I would like to urge the County Assembly of Meru, together with the governor and all the leaders, elected leaders and religious leaders, to come together and find a solution without necessarily bring about the drama all this time. Okay. But if everything fails, then I would urge the president to suspend the county assembly, as it is envisaged in the constitution. Okay. Thank you.
Jackson, what do you make of the state of the nation? How would you describe it?
I can describe it as a total mess, because the people we have elected to protect the constitution of Kenya, they are not doing their job. Like what happened yesterday was a complete violation of the constitution of Kenya, because like we wanted to protest peacefully, but the police were blocking the roads that were leading to CBD, and bado demos ziko intense, but the people who are in power, they are not protecting the constitution of Kenya. Yes.
Ulikuwa mmoja wao. What usually new fikiriaje? Mnafunzwa ngani? Wacha tuanze hapo. Unajua labda si ndio tuelewi.
Okay, like most of the people usually fear losing their job. If they do the correct thing, they just follow orders. Some orders are unlawful orders, and which, as per me, I wouldn't follow unlawful orders. And we all are citizens of Kenya, and if the politicians are doing something wrong, we should be able to correct them. And that's the Kenya that we want. That's the Kenya that we want to live in. Yes.
How have you been since you went to protest as a police officer in uniform?
Yeah, first of all, I didn't go to protest. I was just pictured on placards. And then there was another day I went to Parliament to protest. I was demanding for justice for the people who were killed during the anti-government protest. People who were peacefully demonstrating were killed. Kulikuwa na masniper town, which I think is against the constitution of Kenya. That's what I was going to demand for. Yeah. And I've been trying. God is good, and we are still pushing.
And since then, what happened? Have you been reinstated? What is going on?
No, I wasn't.
Has anybody called you? What is happening?
I'm still a cop, but I'm interdicted. So I was interdicted like a month ago. So right now I'm receiving half of my salary until the case is concluded.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you been issued with a show cause letter of some sort? And
yeah, I was issued with a interdictional letter.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now what will be the defense? Because they'll say that you still continue to appear on the media speaking against the same government.
There is nothing that is unconstitutional that I'm doing. Like, I've read the constitution and I understand it well. I'm not here to protest. I'm not against the government. I'm a loyal supporter of, I'm still loyal to the president of Kenya, but if I'm loyal to the president of Kenya, I have the right to say that this is wrong, and that's what I feel like, and I'm not doing anything that's against the constitution of Kenya.
Okay, we'll talk about that in just a bit and get deeper into it. But Peter, how would you describe the state of the nation?
My views over the state of the nation is that we have taken a new trajectory.
A new trajectory?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have gone back to the drawing board with the current news where the CSS have been confirmed. So that one is a sign that Kenya has taken a new beginning. And we're expecting much from them. We know there are people who some have been in the system, they know how the system works, and we believe that they're going to deliver to the best of the capacity of the Kenyan citizen. So I think we're on track as a country. Okay. And it's a new beginning. I can call it a new beginning because, number one, new changes have been made, and we believe that the people who have been appointed, they're up to the task. Yes. Okay.
Ayodi, do you agree?
Yes, I agree with what my colleagues are saying here. And first of all, before I keep my views, I put my views across, I want to congratulate our officer here, because at least he shows, he's actually an evidence that we do have people who are reasonable in the crew. Because most of them looking at the videos that were circulating yesterday, especially those posted by media. I don't want to focus on those posted by individuals because they can get video from years back. You saw police officers just entering anywhere, get someone maybe seated down, they just beat them. And that is not the kind of a country we need right now. So right now we have many things that we should focus on as a country, but realize that there is a concert being organized to celebrate Haiti. I don't know what happened as a government. When you have other issues we should be focusing on. So it simply means that the leaders we do have, their priorities are not really matching what citizens want. When we're talking about the protests that happened yesterday, although the turn-up was too low, I think the reason why we didn't have a good turn-up is because there was no clear objective that is touching more at least 50% of the population. Look at the finance bill. That alone was touching even the media. There were even journalists who were supporting us reject finance bill. There were many influencers that were supporting. So everyone would turn up, even from Uasin Gishu, where the president comes from, because this was a clear objective. This thing is going to affect us. But the objective where we are right now, that the president must go, you realize that a section of the population that supports, and there is a section of population that thinks, no, this one is wrong. And when you bring such an objective, now it brings back something we were fighting, tribalistness. So now people start identifying themselves as tribe. So I was thinking, as Ayodi, we can come up with now these objectives that will not make my friend here now start viewing himself according to his tribe, but at least to remain tribal-less. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Eugene?
You know, this country belongs to all of us.
Yes.
This country belongs to those who are anti-protests, those who are pro-protests. We can't say, if you look at the Kenyans online, if you look at the Kenyans on Twitter, if you look at the Kenyans on TikTok, we've normalized bad behaviors, bad mannerism. We can't be a country whereby majority of the civilians think about bullying people is the new norm. We can't be in a position whereby a young Kenyan like me, I cannot say I support the finance bill, simply because the so-called majority feels you should not say that. That is not the democracy we enacted in the 2010 Constitution. If you believe the finance bill wasn't okay, that is your opinion. It means like you should give me should give me my right to say I support the finance bill. That is now democracy. But now if you look at the current trajectory in this country, young people have been boxed to think that whatever is anti-government is fashionable. We are trying to act woke. We are trying to act like the president must go, when we know very well constitutionally there's nowhere President Ruto is going. Instead of using a razor blade to cut this tree, why can't we focus on the major and minor things as young people that we need change in this country? For instance, there's a National Youth Council. Instead of us focusing on the National Youth Council and have young people in those positions, we are focusing on saying Ruto must go, knowing very well there's nowhere the president is headed to. The president will be here for the next 10 years if he will be re-elected in the next general election. And in the next general election is in 2027. If we really mean well for this country, like whatever we saw yesterday, their businesses have closed. People have not gone to work to get a coin for them to fend for their family. If you look at the Nairobi economy, people go out to make money for them to come back with food. Think of the families that went without food yesterday. Think of the people that never opened their business yesterday, just because there was fear-mongering, just because people on Twitter, people on these online platforms feel like this is now a chance to bully others into submission. You cannot bully everyone into submission. You cannot bully the president to dissolve the cabinet. When he dissolves the cabinet, you don't tell him what you want him to do. Instead, you say, I don't want to sit on the table. Let me ask you, Trevor. People are saying, if I come out as a young person and say I'm the leader of the Gen Z movement, the government will abduct you, the government will kill you. Okay, we have seen the abductions going on, but then you say you are a fearless generation. You say you fearless leaders in this movement. Why can't you go to the table and negotiate and say, look, this ministry, we want so and so in these ministries. But when the president appoints people, it's now when you want to throw tantrums at the government, at the president to say, no, the president should not have appointed X person, the president should not have appointed a Z person. When in real sense, he gave you a chance to present a name. He gave us a chance as the young people to say, look, we want you to change the cabinet, but these are the names you are suggesting. We never gave a name. Instead, we believed in the narrative that has been spewed on this online to say, if you come out as a young person saying, I want to be the cabinet secretary, let's say for youth and sports, they will bully you to submission to say, you should not be our leader. We are leaderless. There is no revolution that is leaderless that will lead to changes in this country. Mm-hmm. Our young people are languishing in abject poverty. Our young people are languishing in unemployment mayhem. How do we get them out of there? Instead of telling the president, all of us are unemployed. What are the solutions as young people? We pride ourselves as the generation where we educated. We pride ourselves as a generation that is enlightened. Mm-hmm. If that is the case, why can't we come up with solutions to the problems that bedevil us? Yeah. Instead of putting an economy to a standstill, okay, it is for us as the young people to say, look, Mr. President, we've seen you've dissolved the cabinet. We would like you to do 1, 2, 3. Yesterday there was a swearing in of the cabinet secretaries. Yeah. There is one slot remaining for the gender because it was the parliament did not confirm. This is another chance maybe the president has given us, or rather the universe has given us, to say, look, Mr. President, you've not given a Gen Z a position in this cabinet. Why can't you give us this gender role? At least we show you what we're trying to tell you. Yes, you have people in their 40s. Yes, you have people in their 50s in the cabinet. But look, we need people in their 20s to instill courage that, yes, you believe in the young people. If you look at it categorically, people like Kasmuel, yeah, they have been out here trying to say, we want Ruto must go. When categorically, if you ask them, Kasmuel, how do you want Ruto to go? They will say, no, we are fearless. We will come out and protest. Okay. But yesterday you saw them running helter-skelter, not even to confront the police and tell them, look, you should not be throwing tear gas canisters at the peaceful protesters. All right. But instead, they ran away. Why do you say you're fearless, but when you call to the table, you don't want to sit down and talk to the person who has given you that mandate?
That's an interesting perspective you bring in. There's a young person in the cabinet, Eric Mugav, what a CS, who's just been sworn in yesterday. But Samuel, what Oponyo is saying is interesting. Do you think the young people are sabotaging themselves?
I think the problem with and that's why I said when the protests began, yeah, they took off very well. But now the problem is, like my friend Oponyo is saying, it seems like the young people do not have a specific agenda, because just beating around the bush. Ruto must go. But now, Ruto must go. I will support what he said. We are likely to see Ruto for the next 6 or so years. So not about 7, because we are now into the 3rd year. And that's my opinion. Because look at, we know the political scenarios in Kenya.
So you don't...
Let's not pretend, it's not going anywhere.
So you don't think the 2027 arithmetic will change at all?
Who is the competitor? Because the problem is, we don't have a competitor. Ruto will compete alone.
The Kenyan people are
the president will compete, William will compete against Ruto.
Okay. You don't think the
one will
emerge?
So, no, as my friend, my brother Trevor, let's not be pretentious. We know Kenya. We've been voting in Kenya. I think myself I voted for about 4 times. Look at, you see, politics in Kenya is about tribalism. Even look at, listen to what the deputy president is saying. Everybody is galvanizing their tribes. So look at in 2007, maybe I can refer to that, when it is in the
public domain.
In the public domain, thank you. That it was like, you see, the tribes, I'll not say how many in number, but so many tribes came together through the people they call their leaders, and they determined who was to win. I don't know whether who was supposed to win won, but it was about, I don't know whether it is 42 against 1 or 41 against 1, but the one won, in my opinion. So Ruto is a very smart politician. Ruto, what he'll do is, you can see, there are certain parts which have always been known for whatever, protest, like Migori. If we witness what happened yesterday, I don't think there was so much activity in Migori.
There was none.
So what Ruto does is to bring together, he's a very smart politician, as I've said. So he'll give you a few slots here and there. You see, it's in the first term.
Yeah.
So to win the second term, he knows that if you tell him now to jump, he'll not ask us why. He'll ask how high.
Okay.
What about the second term? He will dictate how he'll rule. So to me, the problem with the Gen Z protest is lack of an agenda that can be achieved, because we're just chasing a black cat in the darkness. We'll not get far.
Okay.
So the problem is we don't have an agenda that we are working on, and Ruto will be here. He's not going anywhere. And sorry to friends and patriots like Casmuel, because what they've done is they've taken pieces of advice from people who don't join the protest.
Yeah.
You see people like, I don't know, I can't mention them. There's a leader in Kenya, there's somebody in Kenya who has been with all these politicians.
Yeah.
Went to Canada, came back. He's not trying to organize the Gen Zs, and is not seen anywhere. So such kind of people, we can't depend on them.
Okay.
So the Gen Zs must just take this opportunity to determine their own agenda. Let them not be, the ex-spaces are under the armpits of certain individuals who don't join the protests. So watu kama Casmuel, unaenda pale unaona, Casmuel is not hosting, but is being hosted, and is a listener. And the person who is listening to are the Gen X. So are we serious as a country?
Okay.
So we have to get serious, get an agenda that we can work on. Lakini hii ya kusema Ruto must go, hii ni kutuchezea akili, because it's not going anywhere.
Jackson, do you agree?
I completely disagree with them. As like our agenda as young people is, we want good governance, and the way you're saying like we are leaderless, we are not leaderless. Our leader is our constitution, and what we have right now is a collective spirit, which I'm urging the Gen Zs and the millennials to continue having. And when people say like Zakayo must go, what we mean is like in the constitution, Zakayo anaweza amua mwenyewe resign. That's what we want, because we as young people, I'm convinced like he has failed and he's not going to change, and he's using tactics that are old-fashioned. You're saying he's smart. Those are old-fashioned tactics. And no wonder the cabinet was dissolved. And he's not a smart person. He's someone who lies all the time. Like the young people are saying like Zakayo atenge tu siku moja tuambie ukweli. Juu hizi zote anatenganga mabilioni, anatenganga manini. Ni stories za jaba. Ni kama anatumianga sijui jaba ama mugoka or anything. Because everything he tells us is azifanyikangi. Alafu the young people, I was interacting with some young people during the protest. Watu walikuwa wanasema like afadhali watuue kuliko tukufe na depression. Because these people have degrees. Watu wako na degree, watu wako jobless for so many years, and the best job that the president can offer them ni kazi ya mjengo. What do you think that person will feel? You have your degree, unapewa kazi which is not even permanent na ni ya mjengo, and I feel like the president has completely failed.
Lakini mkiitwa kwa meza mkuji. Yeah. So mtatemwaje concern zenu kama mkiitwa kwa meza mkuja kuongea. Unajua Ayodi alikuwa anasema earlier on vile mlianza mlikuwa mnasema reject finance bill. Hiyo ni kitu inaweza achiviwa. Sasa hizi mkisema Ruto must go.
It is evident that the president don't listen. The only way the president can listen to Kenyans is through protest. Tulikuwa tunasema tunaongea tu we don't want the finance bill. He was not listening. Wakaenda kwa parliament wakaipitisha, and when you came to the streets ndio hapo wakaanza kusema anasikiza. So I don't feel like we just want him to do his job and not even to listen to us. It is evident there are no jobs in Kenya. People are dying of depressions. Like the economy is so bad. Hata tulikuwa na reject finance bill, and still if you levy bado imeongezwa juu. So I think it's not that even agenda. We feel like the president has completely failed.
Lakini ukiangalia practically Jackson.
Yes.
Unaona ni kama president anaweza resign.
He can. It has like these people don't believe in revolution, and they are saying like that he will win the coming election. Me personally, I will not even vote for my own blood. I will not vote for someone who is coming from my tribe if he has nothing good to offer to me. Yeah, I personally went and voted for the current president. Tulikuwa tunasimamia election in Kiambu. I took an Uber to go and vote for him. I paid an Uber for 1,200 shillings. I think to and from it was around 1,200 shillings. And the allowance that we got was around 900 bob for that whole period. And as a young person, I'm just asking myself a question. Is this the country that I want my daughter and my son to live in? Is this the country that we want to have in future? And if we continue having this tribe thing, and these people are saying, we are going to be a complete mess as a country. It will reach a time where that as young people, watoto wetu watakuwa wanataka kukaa Kenya. Watu watakuwa wanatoka wanaenda majuu wanatafuta huko kazi. And me personally, I want to stay in this country. I want a better country. And I would like to urge the people tusiende kwa kuanza kusema ati kabila. Like what tunasema kabila, like the price of fuel before hii regime kuja, it was around 159. Right now the price of fuel is around almost 189. So nikisema it is my tribe ako in power and I'm the one suffering. So that's we're not moving forward. Tunarudi tu kwa zile times za Moi, and it's so unfortunate that the president is using the tactics za Moi to rule us, and it will fail because like you are saying, like yesterday what happened was completely against the constitution of Kenya. People were being blocked from accessing the CBD. I personally tried and accessed the CBD. I was blocked. There were roadblocks everywhere. And it's my constitutional right to go and peacefully protest. And they're not protecting us. And dictatorship cannot work with this generation. It will fail. The president has to listen to the will of Kenyans, the young people of Kenyans. And they cannot be stopped. Okay. Yes.
I'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll still continue with this conversation. We'll now talk about the broad-based government as well, and whether they have the support and what way forward for the young people. They had said that Nani is the final protest, but we'll see, did they achieve what they really wanted? Keep your views coming at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Daybreak. I'll actually resample some of them when we come back right from the break.